Welcome into this Thursday night edition of Hand Raised Guys, the Oxford Exxon podcast. Chase Parham, Neal McCready, Clark Ford at studio here with you on this Thursday evening. It is 7 o'clock Central Time as we are getting going. The Royals are beating the Cubs 6-0 currently, probably to the point of I probably could get golf on in the Clark Ford studio with the score being what it is.
Oh, they're still playing?
Yeah, they're on the West Coast, so they're going at 9 o'clock tonight or so.
What channel are they on?
ESPN. I believe is correct there.
You can tell I haven't been keeping up with the golf today.
You haven't been following that one too much?
I have not.
So
I've had a busy 24 hours that really did not involve
a little social media work, some things like that.
Well, a little bit.
Okay.
A little bit.
So
sent some emails, gotten some
emails. Did you
emails.
send some emails?
Oh yeah.
You got emails?
Oh yeah.
Who'd you get emails from?
Oh, people.
Like public citizens? Or
Sure.
like administration types?
I've had conversations. I've had lots of conversations today. I was as much of an Oxford citizen today as I've ever been an Oxford citizen.
You're very Chamber of Commerce today?
I wouldn't say that. I would say that I was an involved Oxonian today. Maybe for the first time. That's on me. I've learned who some people are.
Mm-hmm.
I think some people have learned who I am. Had some conversations.
Okay. So we will, honestly, we kind of thought we'd have a schedule by now. We thought we'd at least know some opponents by now. That does not appear to be the case.
It's not happening today.
We're going to let you guys probably direct this a little bit. If you got stuff in the live stream, feel free.
Where is Harding
we'll
Park?
Take some calls. It is in San Francisco.
Oh.
Yeah, the big-ass Monterey cypress trees all over the property. It's like
I just now saw that. So is that near the bridge?
I have no idea where it's located inside. It's right next to Olympic because they actually, when Olympic hosted the U.S. Open or the PGA or whatever it was in '98, this course was used as one of the parking lots for that. So obviously it's pretty good golf right there in the area. But yeah, so the first major of the year with the weird schedule, there will be a Masters, there will be a U.S. Open, no British Open, the Open Championship taking off until 2021. But nonetheless, yeah. So anyway. That is it there in Harding Park currently.
Jason Day in the lead.
65.
Brooks Koepka among several.
At 4 under.
Brendan Steele, I've never heard of. Bryson DeChambeau, -4. He's through 13. I'm looking for names that I recognize.
How many of these people could you pick out of a lineup? You could have picked Koepka out of a lineup?
Yeah.
DeChambeau, obviously.
Yeah.
But nothing below.
Tiger Woods. I would know Tiger.
Oh, thanks. Okay. I was curious. Gary Woodland, could you pick him out of a lineup?
No.
Could you not?
No.
Okay. Xander Schauffele, no chance.
I could Xander Bogaerts with the Red Sox, perhaps.
Okay. Just curious. It's kind of like a baseball issue, but it's golf, so it's a little different. As far as the normal person is not going to recognize a lot of them, but you know what?
No, but I'm glad they're playing. I did see DeChambeau broke his driver.
Yeah, stepped on it.
Yeah, that'll do it.
I think you got to repair it though, correct? Because it was not necessarily like in a middle of whatever.
I don't know. I took a break today and got into this book. I finished this Accidental President's book.
Yeah, I'm going to let you take me through it in a minute.
I learned a lot of stuff today that I did not know about presidents and stuff, and it was really interesting.
Webb, thank you as always. You are by far our favorite super chatter amongst the crowd every week. The birthday thing's taking on a life of its own today. I don't know why today is different because we're still several months away from my actual birthday, and I'm kind of in that nondescript period too, where when I'm having birthdays right now, they don't mean anything to me at all. Like they're literally just numbers. Like there's no milestone in the middle of this. It's going to be a while for you. Like I guess 40 would be the next one, but. Because 30 30 did not even freak me out a little bit. I was like, okay, fine. Like, moving on. Great.
I don't remember 30.
You don't remember 30?
No, I really
remember
don't.
40?
Do I remember 40? Not really. Isn't that crazy?
Webb says, Neal, throw us a bone on the schedule. When are you hearing it's going to be released? And what are your thoughts on COVID and the media now? He thinks it's all political. Thank y'all. Thank you, Webb.
Okay. Well, the schedule, I thought it was going to come out Tuesday, and then I thought they would release the 10 games yesterday, And I'm told that the call, whatever that means, I guess the call with the SEC, whether it was ADs or coaches or both or whatever, went poorly.
Presidents? What was it?
I don't think it's presidents.
Okay.
Somewhere between 2 and 4 schools are really pissed about their schedule.
Who gives a crap? Just play the games. I don't care if a team has Georgia 12 times.
It's really pretty.
10 times. It's pretty.
It's really pretty.
It's very scenic.
Yeah. Yeah, no, look.
They just can't help themselves, can they? Just can't help it.
They don't understand. They
got to go full meathead at some point.
Which makes you, when people say, well, I think they might start, but I don't know that they can finish. And people go, what does that mean? That's what it means. That's what it means. Can you actually get a coach to admit that this is a different kind of year? Some of these cats, I don't think so. I've heard Georgia's upset. I've heard Florida's upset. I've heard Alabama's upset. I heard Auburn was upset. Then somebody else came back and said it wasn't Auburn.
Kyle Wilson, thank you. If you have a question, feel free to jump in. I just don't get it. Like it's the ultimate. I mean, if you're Sankey, you seriously want to strangle somebody right now.
I'm sure he's.
Oh my God.
In fairness to him, I'm sure he's furious. And at some point, and I would think that point's coming soon. Hey guys, it is what it is.
Here's the schedule, bud.
Yeah, he's doing the Adam Silver thing where he's letting everyone talk. And then at some point you say, okay.
I didn't see where Mitch Daniel at Purdue got all pissed off because Ohio State got added to his schedule this year. Didn't care. Okay, great.
Man, I got to tell you, the more I read Big Ten stuff, that is tenuous up there.
You're not sure they're playing.
Well, I was released today. Michael Adderholt sent it to me on Twitter. You know, it's included in the language is if we play. If we play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's not exactly confidence. 10 to 15% of the stadium. Penn State came out today. Nobody's coming.
Mm-hmm.
You sons of bitches that sent us money. If you ask for your money
That's
back.
Getting referred to next year if you want your priority, bud.
If you ask for your money back and we play in 2021, you are on your own.
That's a tough. That's
tells you how tight the money is.
Tells you the waste over the day. That's what it tells you. The waste over the day. I mean, what come on? What's Penn State's budget? $200 million a year?
What was it? Someone sent me. Let's see if I can find it. It was about Alabama.
Again, we thank Kyle for the super chat. He said, "When did you first think you had become successful in journalism, and what stage in your life was it?" Neal still does not believe so. So he's not going to have an answer.
It hadn't happened yet.
Okay. Let's put it this way. When did you feel comfortable with what you're doing and basically think you had become more of a overall small business owner versus a journalist? Because, I mean, I've known you the whole time you've been in Oxford, and in 2008, you were still pretty big J. I mean, you were still that guy for a while there.
2013, 2014, I started realizing that dream was dead. I needed to embrace this one. And then as I had success with it, I was like, yeah, okay.
But, I mean, you wouldn't be happy if you're living in a loft apartment in New York City, working for the New York Times, making $65,000 trying to live in wherever either.
No, probably not. No, I mean, that's why I laugh about it.
It's give and take. It's a lot there.
I laugh at some of the big J journalism guys that take shots at me now because I'm always like, yeah, I make more than you. And, you know, I mean, I do. I mean, I'm the jerk that says that. You know, well, you didn't make it where I made it. Yeah, but I make 3 times what you make. Champ. Which is a really, really petty thing to say, but I've said it.
It's a little bit of an asshole. I mean,
it's a lot.
Neal wants like some Twitter badges where like certain salary levels are over here as they're all talking and giving things. Like he would like these little badges over here.
There's been a few times that I've just kind of wanted to point it out, but that's a real.
You would light the internet on fire. Can you imagine the national media coming with pitchforks and
if I told Dan Wilkin I make more in a year than you make in 5, he wouldn't like it.
Well, he's just trying to save lives, Neal.
All right, so Tyler Fitch has a great question. I'm going to get off this topic before I get in trouble. Tyler Fitch, thank you first of all for the gift. Very nice. Really appreciate it. Happy birthday to you, Chance. And then he says, over under 500 odds, we have a season, meaning the season starts. based on what his second question is. I'll go over.
50-50 that we start.
Yeah.
Yeah, over.
Over.
Yeah.
Better question. He says over under 500 odds, 50-50 that we finish a season.
Finish being the schedule does not
that it
get
does not
impacted
get
at all.
canceled. That the season doesn't get canceled. Remember how Major League Baseball, when the Marlins thing happened, we're like, hey, you might not be able to do this. This just might not work.
Well, Pete Thamel said it was 5% of happening. He said that 95% is all getting canceled.
Today?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
He's even 20% on even getting started. Pete's.
Now, what just happened there? He dropped his club?
What happened?
I don't know. He swung the club and he dropped it or something.
I don't know. I'm talking to you. I can't see.
Okay.
Oh, they're going to show a replay?
Here's the replay.
He's annoyed with the shot. He just let the club go because the shot went awry.
Oh, okay. All right.
Is that wrong?
Some dude in a purple shirt.
Okay. So go ahead. Yeah, Thamel today on Feinbaum said 20% the season would start and 5% the season would finish.
Oh, that's... I did see where the Mountain West was. It the Mountain? No, Big Sky canceled.
Oh, okay.
I don't know who's in that. I'm going to say 60% they start, 40% they finish, based on today.
That's about right. I mean, I think they have a good chance of finishing, but I would be very scared to bet on it. Let's do it this way. Over under how many games? What would be the even odds on how many games are played?
5.5.
Yeah, 6 was in my mind.
Okay.
So, okay. Yeah. We turned the Cubs game, Eric. We had it on and Chad went through a curveball that looked like my curveball and got hit out of the park.
Cubs were due a loss. They'd won 6 in a row.
So you're not upset. You're going to go to bed okay tonight?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, I told you with baseball, I just want to see them finish.
Who is in the Big Sky?
I don't know. I can
you
pull
might
it
look
up.
it up. I'm just curious.
No, I mean, I'll pull it up. I don't know. Is that like Montana and stuff?
Oh, it might be. I don't know.
Big Sky Conference teams. It is Northern Arizona, Idaho State, Weber State, Southern Utah, Sacramento State, Northern Colorado, Eastern Washington, Northern Arizona, Southern Utah.
Sure.
Whatever. Montana State, Montana. That's a big league. That's a lot of travel. I'm guessing Montana to Arizona in the air is a little bit of a haul. I don't know.
Tyler says 6 feels high. He'd set the over-under at 3.5.
Oh, I'd go over on that.
Well,
you gave me those
here's
odds.
the deal. There's going to be a problem early.
Yes.
And if you get past that problem, then you've got a chance. It's do you freak out on that problem or not, which is where his over-under would come into play.
Okay, so let's talk about this. They said yesterday they're going to have a third party come in and do the test. They're going to test on, let me make sure I get this right, Sunday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yes, that's correct, according to Will Muschamp.
Okay, so here's the question. You test on Friday, and on Saturday, which is game day, you find out that South Carolina, will use them because you just said will. South Carolina has X positives. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
What's that number that makes it okay? And what's the number if I tell you X positives? When you fill in the gap, you go, that's not going to happen. The game's going to get canceled.
3.
So here's where I have a problem. So let's say South Carolina is playing the Columbia Bowl in Missouri.
I guess he has clearance of this route he's about to hit over. Go ahead, I'm listening.
Okay. South Carolina's going to play at Missouri. They've made the trip halfway across the country to stay in the SEC East.
Yeah.
And 3 guys test positive, and they go, this isn't going to work. You're throwing money away.
Well, here's the thing, too. And we talked about a lot back in June about, hey, how much mass testing is going to happen. And they said, hey, during preseason at least, there's not going to be mass testing. It's going to be whatever. We're going to test, and then once you come in, you're not really going to test again. Okay, cool. 3 times a week is setting it up to get a lot of positive tests. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if we're testing 3 times a week, that threshold automatically has to move up, or there's no shot. Just by, math, science, whatever STEM you want to use here. Like,
now MLB's done a lot of testing, and they're getting very few positives. NBA came
They're in
back,
bubbles.
and I know NBA's in a bubble. They came back with no positives. 300 and something tests, no positives. Baseball rosters are much bigger than basketball rosters.
I was expecting 1 test a week. I was shocked by 3. It felt, frankly, even from a resource and a money standpoint, it felt like a lot.
Well, that's what I was telling you. That's where these schools are like, wait a minute. Are we really going to – not they have to. I get it. Are we really going to keep the shop open?
Mm-hmm. I've got a couple compliments in here on my cow. This thing's like 10 years old. I pulled it out of the scrap heap.
That is an
today.
old school hat.
We got them at one of the conferences back in the day, I think.
It's back in it. Was that Vegas?
It was Vegas or Atlanta. I don't remember which one.
Might have been Vegas.
You think it was Vegas?
That's my guess.
Real happening group, by the way, the Rivals Publishers
Oh,
in Vegas.
Wild parties. I mean, the women, just crazy.
Yeah, I was cleaning up some stuff, and I found 3 or 4 Rivals caps of different kinds. This is the only one that's fairly suitable.
What I remember about Vegas was going down to the pool, and the groupies were everywhere.
They follow conventions.
Yeah, I mean, they follow the Rivals convention everywhere we go. And
The week before, they're hanging out for the plumber convention. It was the
like,
Rivals convention this
ladies,
week.
ladies, I'm just trying to relax a moment.
What are you drinking?
Mezcal.
Oh, straight? Is
Yeah.
there lime or anything?
Nope, just straight.
Seriously?
Yep.
Does the rock help?
It makes it colder.
Is the ice and the watering down important, is what I'm asking you.
Not really. It's similar to bourbon, or more similar to scotch, I think.
Here, pour just a touch in this glass.
All
Like,
right.
I just want to try it. I don't want a glass. I'm just curious.
I don't want to be a bad example on you or anything.
That's fine. I'm just curious. I'm trying to think of any news that's going on otherwise, because I don't know. You could dip your sucker there in the mezcal and then try it all.
What's
at
the
once.
thought? Gotta wait. We're saving the sucker for something special.
They're just hanging in over here.
So if you do test on Wednesday, when do you get the test back? Thursday?
At the earliest. Well, I mean, are we just doing rapid test? Are we just doing the 30-minute test? Or are we doing like trying to do a real test? That's what I don't know the answer to that
This is
either.
where I could be a real smart ass and say we haven't talked to anybody at Ole Miss in months. I guess I was just a smart ass and said it. Sorry. Yeah, I guess. Are those reliable? The rapid test? Are those reliable? What's the percentage of false positives on those?
Well, there's a
Or
decent
false
percentage of
negatives
false
on those.
positives and negatives on all the tests. That's the problem here on being crazy. Like, it's why the PGA Tour had to chill out and go, okay, if we get a positive test and that person the next couple of days gets negative tests, because they were just testing every day there at one point. If it's negative 2 days in a row, let him play. We'll just put him in a group by himself with some caution and whatever.
Yeah.
Football, they're not going to do that. You got to wait on the next round. And even then, or people go, well, you don't know. That might have been the negative. You know what I mean? Like, there's going to be false positives and false negatives. It's just true.
So what do you do if you
It's a good point. There is a ton of false negatives out right now. False negatives are a true, real problem right now.
people get a test and it tells
It
them they're
says
negative,
it says
but in
they're
reality
negative
they're
and
positive.
positive as hell, yeah. Yeah.
That's the stuff that makes me skeptical.
Yeah, testing is not reliable right now. So, I mean, look, I'm for testing, don't get me wrong. But when we act like testing is going to be this concrete, perfect way to do something, no, not even a little bit, in both directions. It's just not reliable enough.
I get back to what I talked about this with my social media conversations yesterday. There's a certain degree of risk that you just have to accept.
In life.
Well, and in football. I mean, football players get hurt. Unfortunately. But they do. I mean, we're talking about eliminating all risk in a sport that before this we were talking about CTE. I'm not trying to be a smart ass. I'm just being real. I mean, there's been movies made about CTE. NFL players have killed themselves because of CTE. We've donated brains to science because of CTE. Aaron Hernandez's deal, a lot of it was blamed on CTE. But now we're talking about something that doesn't kill them?
Sorry.
Players break legs, blow knees out, tear up shoulders.
Well, look, your concern here. I mean,
spinal cord injuries.
Your legitimate concern here is you get a false negative, you're really positive, and you end up giving it to a position coach.
Okay.
That's the because here's the deal, and I think you agree here. That happens one time, it's over.
Oh, there's no
Potentially,
doubt.
that happens one time, and it's over.
The position coach at fill in the blank state U gets it and is
critically ill.
on a ventilator, and we're shutting it down based on some meeting. It's the part of me that is cynical. I don't know that the coaches can break away from their routines of the past enough to get this done.
Somebody says injuries aren't contagious. Have you ever seen Ole Miss sports? I don't know. Those are my questions. I mean, we're talking out both sides of our mouth a little bit because I do think I think we get some games in, but there are very clear issues from a liability standpoint and what programs are going to be willing to tolerate as they battle safety and money and all these different things. So we continue the conversation in a second. Also, we'll talk about stadium capacity because we seem to do that every week as well. Before we do that, I'll tell you about Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. All underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. They're getting local underwriting, understands your market, a leader in condo financing, the float down option, and more. You can find Jason at 662-234-2704 or JLOWE@communitymtg.com.
I didn't tell you about Rafters on the Water at the beginning of the show. It's located at the Sardis Marina. You can check it out Wednesdays and Thursdays, 3:30 to 10, Friday and Sunday, 11 to 10. It's basically a big party. Shrimp, catfish platters, burgers, po' boys, Zydeco shrimp, crawfish egg rolls, live music, fun cocktails, house frozen margaritas, and more. To go, curbside available as well, 662-712-6162. We're also brought to you by the Iron Horse Grill. It's located at 320 East Pearl Street in Jackson. Live music 4 times per week. It's the perfect place to enjoy lunch, dinner, or Sunday brunch. Summer is here, another heat wave on the way. It's a perfect time to get the new line of Dead Soxy No-Shows. 9 new styles to choose from. Find the style that fits your occasion. Promo code Rebel Grove at checkout. 30% off the best dress socks you'll ever put on. They also have several bundle packs currently on sale. You can use your promo code of Rebel Grove in addition to these already deeply discounted prices at deadsoxy.com. Make your day a Soxy one. We're also brought to you by Pinnacle Trust. Pinnacle Trust based in Madison, Mississippi. They've got clients in more than 20 states, advisors in multiple states as well. They were founded in 1997. They provide detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and so much more. Pinnacle Trust investing is treated like a commodity, and decisions are made using objective information and research, not emotions. It's pintrust.com, PINN trust.com. Mention that you heard about Pinnacle Trust on the podcast. You'll get 10% off your first year's fee.
So I was looking this up a second ago while you were paying some bills there, and that was I could easily get hooked to that. I'm not at the moment. I think I'd like to try it on the rocks more than neat. It has the smokiness of a Scotch.
Uh-huh.
I was reading here that peat is what causes Scotch to have that smoky. You always talk about peatiness in Scotch. They say this comes from wood. It says that mezcal is distilled in the mountains of Mexico delivers smoke that comes not from peat but from wood here. So yeah, reading there's a similarity definitely in how it's made. I'm not going to go into a ton of it right now, but yeah.
Well,
so
and this company makes several. These are artisanal mezcals, and it's the same company, but they make it in different parts of Mexico.
Okay.
And so it has different flavor profiles based on where it comes from.
Oh, really?
Really pretty fascinating.
Okay. So anyway, there's a cooking thing that makes it taste like that.
Yeah.
The smoke. So
Jay wanted olives fed to him. I can't make that happen right now, but I do appreciate the gift there, Jay.
He wanted olives fed to him.
He does. That's a
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Stuffed olives.
I don't know what kind of olives. Jay, I don't know, had ever had olives before his night at St. Leo.
I'm not an olive person. Too salty.
I like olives a pretty good bit.
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
Ryan, thank you very much. One of our favorite super chatters there. He says, getting married next Saturday, and the
Ooh,
women
wow.
in my life are losing their ever-loving minds. Any advice to stay sane for the next 9 days? Stay
Yeah,
out of the
go
way and show up
disappear.
on time.
Disappear for the next 8 days.
Yeah, show up on time,
Yeah,
shaved,
yeah,
and get out of the way until then.
yeah,
That's the answers.
yeah.
You
can't.
There is no right answer.
No, you
at this
can't
point. Because, like,
win.
look, there are sane wedding people and planners and women, but you're telling me they're not sane at this point. So at that point, just stay away.
You can't win right now.
Your opinion on the cake does not matter.
She wants you to be involved, except she doesn't want you to be involved. Understand that. She wants you to pretend that you're involved, but stay the hell out. But pretend.
Give an opinion that you know does not matter.
Give an affirmative opinion.
Yes. Basically, give her opinion.
Yeah. If
You
you
know the
know,
truth.
if you know that she likes whatever particular cake, you should say, that's the cake I like as well. I've never loved a cake more than that
Says
cake.
we've lost our collective minds. Yeah, just
You don't.
especially if you're not footing the bill. Just
Yeah, you don't
just get
need
out
to
of the
lose
way.
your mind, but they're going to lose theirs, and there's nothing you can do about it. Just,
give us some information here. We're doing. He says we'll call in to get some details. Okay, do that because I'm curious. Like band, DJ.
yeah.
Plus, when's it happening? Because it is a pandemic. There's kind of a limit on what you could be doing right now. from a
Although
wedding
I talked to
standpoint.
someone today who said that weekend after weekend at certain places in Mississippi, there are 450-person weddings happening.
Really?
Yes.
No kidding.
No kidding.
He says, actually, on second thought, maybe I should have done this under a false name. That's fine. It's all good.
Too late now.
Yeah, it's in. Oh, God.
Jay says, eyes on the prize, brother. Say yes, feign interest, and fight through this difficult period. It's not terrible advice.
Yeah, and you're inside 10 days. I mean, you're pretty much
The
there
hay
at
is
that
in the
point.
barn at this
Yeah,
point,
at that
really.
point, whatever's happening is happening. I mean, it is what it is. So Keith Carter told me this morning that he and Glenn Boyce met with Tate Reeves in recent days.
Okay.
He had mentioned earlier that was
Yeah.
the hope, and the hope was to present a plan that would increase potentially stadium capacity for fans.
To 50%.
That's
And
the
while
hope.
I admire Keith's
Optimism.
ambition,
Well, the budget was designed for 50%, so that was the hope.
I mean, I certainly don't want that to come across as an insult.
No, I mean, look, take your shot. I
Shoot,
mean,
yeah, shoot or shoot.
but it did not. It to this point, it has not happened. As we mentioned on this podcast earlier in the week, Tate Reeves extended the executive orders that keep everything at 25% as of right now. Those executive orders stay either through August 17th or August 19th. I forget the day,
Yeah,
but either way.
I got to be honest with you here.
Well, I told you last week. I think 0 is more likely than 50.
I do too, especially early. And I don't want to be Debbie Downer at all. But one of the things that's happening, let me do this without insulting anyone. One of the chief opinion makers as it pertains to the way Mississippi deals with the virus is Dobbs. And Dobbs is viewing this entire thing from one singular viewpoint. In fact, some people who have had to deal with Dobbs have told him it must be nice to have that luxury. Dobbs views this strictly from a medical/hospital standpoint. I'm not saying that's right or wrong, okay? But that's what he does. And yet his opinion weighs really heavily right now in the state. And if we were to be talking about today, here's the good news, is we're not talking about right now today. We're talking about September the 26th. Is that right? Maybe October the 3rd or whatever.
Yeah,
Maybe
sure.
it changes by then.
That's what I'm saying. Like, as of today, that's the thing. As of today, we know where the case was. I mean, Dobbs did say this week he believes a plateau is happening or it's happened or something. I
Yeah.
forget the direct quote. And look, yeah, these executive orders do not get to that point. There's nothing in these executive orders that have anything to do with when the season is supposed to start. However, they do create a very strong baseline as we're talking about right now. And barring things getting a lot better, yeah, I think it's sticking where it is or decreasing as of this moment, but we'll see. I mean,
Yeah, if it were today, I would bet no fans.
I would too. If the season actually started where that thing mattered to athletics today, I think it would have gone to 0. I think there'd have been another executive order with an amendment that had 0 for stadiums or arenas or whatever.
The good news is we have a couple of weeks. God, we've said that a lot since March.
Well,
we have a couple of weeks, but it's got to start getting better. And it can change over the course of the year. One of the things I noticed from Iowa's release today is they said, hey, we're going to do this game by game because it might change positively or negatively in terms of capacity.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Just because we are talking education and COVID, thoughts with the family of Tacoma James, a 42-year-old teacher at Lafayette who passed away today. I heard pneumonia, but was self-quarantining with the thought of COVID. I don't know. I don't believe that was a final determination, but that was the word. See, Superintendent Adam Pugh told Mississippi Today, quote, "No one has told me officially that he had COVID, but I do know he was self-quarantining this week. Last Thursday would have been the last contact he had with any students. At summer workouts for the football team, I'm not exactly sure what symptoms he had, but he wasn't around students or teachers this week." Says again, Lafayette Superintendent Adam Pugh is that happened today. So believe maybe an Ole Miss grad, because I saw Romero had mentioned a former classmate.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming Ole Miss. I don't know that. I guess it could be Shannon, but I think it was Ole Miss. So anyway, just that did pop up here a little while ago. So anyway, the meeting didn't yield much. We'll see. That's kind of where this thing is, but has a huge impact on budget. But well, I mean, it's.
Well, it's some of the conversations that you have about what happens if there's no season, if there's no this, if there's no that. What does this town look like in 6 months? What does this town look like in January and February if there's no season? And the answer is it's bad. That's the answer, is it's bad. It's bad. I mean, multiple businesses don't make it beyond restaurants and bars. It goes well beyond that.
City workers, I mean.
Oh, it's devastating in town. Will Strahan says, I'm the governor, you're the AD. What are y'all doing with football and school in general? Oh, my answer's not popular.
Was it not popular? I mean,
no, it was real popular with a lot of people. I think I could run for mayor among 17, 16-year-olds right now and win.
From an AD standpoint, well, number one, the AD doesn't have a lot of power. You're dependent on the state and the conference that you're participating in to dictate a lot of your rules and your schedules and different things. I mean, I think from the very beginning, and look, I mean, Neal's talked about this because, I mean, a lot of the thought is we can do a lot with kids and you can protect them in a lot of ways, but they're still going to be kids. They're going to do a lot of different things with their personal lives and social lives and whatnot. At the very beginning, I think you had to put fear in them to go, hey, please do not do something crazy. Like, I know you're going to be a kid to some extent, but just be smart as possible. I mean, when Ole Miss had their first outbreak, that's what happened. I mean, and again, college kids are going to do college kid stuff, but we're talking about video game parties, poker games. We're talking about a lot of stuff like that where it was like, geez, you know what I mean? I mean,
yeah.
it's.
And to my knowledge, Ole Miss has not had many problems since then.
No, it's been pretty clean since then. At one point, there was only one positive case with the football team like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, something like that.
Chet wants to know if Robin Tannehill's from Mississippi. She's from Florence, Alabama.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She went to school at Ole Miss. Her husband's from, where's Ray from? Union, Mississippi? Somewhere around here. He went to Ole Miss.
Around your age, right?
Yeah, they are my age.
Yeah, we have one box tonight, I think, right?
Yeah, one
right?
box.
Okay.
Yeah, they've been here forever. Yeah, I can open it, sure.
Okay.
It's from our friend Coach Nuke.
Ooh,
that's loud.
sorry about that. That was
just
not pleasant.
raw power.
Come on. Neal needs to work out on the tree a little more.
Well, there's no doubt about that.
What we got?
We have a couple of West Point caps.
Okay.
There you go.
So, new caps?
New cap. The cadets.
That's good.
Oh, it's a good looking cap.
We've definitely gone completely Army over Navy around here. Our allegiances are very black and gold, and they have become Army in Iowa, it appears. What we got?
We got an Army West Point shirt. This looks very nice.
It says Army West Point across it in script, and then or not script, in block letters, and then has the logo, the knight on it.
I'm gonna guess this was designed for me.
Okay.
It's a Cubs throwback.
Oh, cool.
Cubs
Now that looks
throwback
good.
jersey
That looks really good.
when they were the Feds, which is very early on in the history of the franchise.
When were they no longer the Feds?
This was like 1800s, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's pretty cool. Thank you, Frank.
Looking at it here, the Chicago Whales were a professional baseball team based in Chicago. They played in the Federal League, a short-lived third major league in 1914 and 1915. They originally lacked a formal nickname and were known simply as the Chicago Federals, or Chi-Feds, to distinguish them from the Cubs and the White Sox.
Okay.
So that's they played in a third major league in 1914 and 1915. So there's your answer.
There you go.
They played at Weigman Park. Where's that?
Weigman is now Wrigley.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, sorry. Okay, yeah, that is correct. Yeah, because what's on the sleeve of that jersey? There was like a logo or something on the sleeve.
Yeah, it's the Wrigley Field 100 years.
Okay.
They did all these throwback jerseys in 2014.
Can you name their manager?
In 1914?
Yeah.
Two Finger Johnson.
As opposed to Three Finger Brown?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
No, also it was Mordecai. Joe Tinker is why I said that.
Oh, Tinker.
Joe Tinker was their he was the shortstop for the Cubs. Is that correct?
Tinker to Evers to Chance.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's shortstop,
He was
second,
the shortstop,
first, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Another
Pop culture
really good book.
wise, do what?
Another really good book, Tinker to Evers to Chance, which is about how baseball became mainstream back then.
Oh, really?
Yeah, fascinating. I'm a total goob, man. I mean, we do this long enough, and I'll goob people out with, like, God, he is so weird. Jay makes fun of me all the time. I like to read books. But today I learned stuff in this book.
Yeah, we're gonna get there in a minute.
Okay.
We're gonna get there. You were excited, like you came in and it was the best thing that's happened to you today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going. Yeah, I haven't read that one, so no, I haven't. It's interesting though because you've turned me on to 2 or 3 of the best presidential type books that I've ever read.
Yeah. Well, I thought I knew all the president stuff. I did not know some of this.
Because I mean, probably the best one from that standpoint was the President's Club, where they talk about each other and how only a few people know what that office is like, and the way there's been assistants that's kind of under the table throughout. Because it starts in like 1920 and takes you from there. At that point, I forget who the first one was.
It's a lonely office.
I think Trump's leaning on a lot of past presidents here.
Pretty sure he's not.
I think we have a different situation here.
Well, I tell you what was funny is I went down some rabbit holes because of the book that I read today, and I ended up watching the ceremony where George W. Bush and Laura Bush had their portraits unveiled. It's in 2011.
Okay.
So the Obamas had them to the White House and had a ceremony, and of course Barack Obama spoke, and then George W. Bush spoke, and then Laura Bush spoke, and then Michelle Obama spoke.
Sure.
And it was just so completely different in terms of decorum than what we see today. And I'm not making a political statement at all, but the two men appeared to genuinely quasi-like each other. And George H.W. Bush was there. He was in his wheelchair, but he was there. And George W. Kind of got emotional when he referenced his dad, and
I mean, HW and Clinton were like legitimate friends.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
like,
legitimately. And then you could tell that Michelle Obama truly appreciated Laura Bush. And they talked about how the Bush girls, when the Obama girls got to the White House, the Bush girls were like showing them how to slide down the banister and gave them some tips that apparently the Obama girls took seriously. And it turned out to help them in their transition to living in that fishbowl. And I just thought stuff that does not happen today. It was just kind of crazy to watch it. It just like watching a different world. And then I watched, because this is the week that Nixon resigned.
Yeah.
And you watch Nixon's resignation speech, and then the next morning before he leaves, he meets all of his people and the White House staff and everything, and he gets choked up and he speaks about his dad and his mom. And it's a really kind of poignant speech. Stuff you just don't see today.
I don't know if it's like, this is the first election in a long time that I'm not excited for from a campaign fun standpoint. Like, I just have no energy for it.
I do want debates.
Oh, we need debates.
We need debates.
Yeah, desperately need debates.
My cynicism needs the debates.
You need to see this.
Yes. Because, I mean, 2 days in a row Biden has spoken, and 2 days in a row you can see his campaign people going, shut up, stop, go back in the bunker, get back. We're winning without you talking.
And now, from a campaign standpoint, if you are winning without talking, don't talk.
But there does come a point.
It's the political version of when you get the answer you want, shut up.
Do you put any stock at all? We're jumping all over the place. Do you put any stock at all into the rumor that he will not be the nominee?
I think he's the nominee. I mean, look, in today's political environment, any stock in quotes, sure. Great.
Yeah.
You can't shock me.
Yeah.
I don't care what you do. You can't shock me.
Yeah.
But yes, I think he's the nominee.
Can you imagine a 2-hour debate between those two people? The opportunity for that thing to go so off the
do you
rails.
Really want to watch it?
Yes. Oh, God, yes. Oh,
you
please.
Do.
Oh, my God, yes.
I'm
uninterrupted viewing.
I'm going to hate myself like 15 minutes in.
All right, I didn't say that, but I wouldn't miss it.
I've been legitimately excited about every presidential campaign as an adult, and this one I can't muster it.
I'm hoping as a country at the end of this we look at each other and go, we've got to do better.
Yeah, you're right.
Because whoever wins, I don't see them being the president 5 years from now.
Right. Take a break in the show to tell you about Tyson Drugs and G&M Pharmacy. New product underway at both locations is the immune support med packs. Pharmacists develop a combination of vitamins and supplements. It's designed to boost your immune system and lung health. It includes a 30-day supply of vitamin C, zinc, NAC, probiotic, and vitamin D3, which work together to boost your immune system, lung health, GI regulation, and immune regulation. Pharmacists believe it's the best combination of OTC supplements to prepare your body for viruses. Stop by either location there, Tyson Drugs in Holly Springs or G&M Pharmacy on South Lamar in Oxford, 662-236-2222.
We're also brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, Grenada Nissan's the place to go. It's located just off Interstate 55 in Grenada, Mississippi. They've got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles. Great lease deals as well. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com. Also brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. If you've been thinking about that golf trip with the guys, an anniversary trip, you going to St. Andrews, going to Paris, just getting the hell out after the pandemic is finally over, get in touch with John. He's part of Virtuoso. It's a worldwide network of travel partners that allows him to supply his clients with added values, unique benefits, simply not available to other travelers. All you do is you give him a call, give him an email, give him some parameters, give him a budget. He'll give you options that you can't find on your own. And no, you don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of his services. 901-494-3387 or send him an email, jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients can save $50 off their first booked trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast. We're also brought to you by OUB, Oxford University Bank, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, that money and the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. OUB is home to Kasasa. It's the absolute best cash checking account. And with Kasasa, OUB We'll pay customers 2.5% interest on their balances up to $50,000 and refund ATM fees nationwide. OUB also offers online bill pay and mobile check deposit using its online app. It's liveoxfordbankoxford.com or call 662-234-6668. OUB is FDIC insured. While I was reading that ad, Campbell was texting. She's in Fayetteville today. First day back.
Okay.
She's
made it.
I was perfectly fine with her leaving. I was like, I know you're going to be good, and then she left, and
it's kind of tough.
Kind of got a little misty.
Because you handled year one incredibly well. You dropped her off at like the nail shop.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, that was peace out.
All right, so tell your story. What's in your book?
All right, so
what's the name of the book? Who's the author? I mean, let's set it up.
So let me get out of this page. All right, here we go. So the book that I've been reading, and I went way down. It's called Accidental Presidents. It's by Jared Cohen. There's the book. I'm not going to bog you down with all of the different things.
Just 2 or 3.
Did you know that John Hinckley Jr. he was originally to impress Jodie Foster. He thought by killing a president, Jodie Foster would love him. Kind of weird. Gives you a little idea that maybe he wasn't sane. His original plan was to kill Jimmy Carter, and in October of 1980, he got close enough to Carter to shake his hand. Had it all planned out, but he read where Carter was in the polls in trouble against Reagan, and he thought that she would be far more impressed if he waited and killed a popular president than a president who was about to lose an election. And as you know, in March of 81, he came very close to killing Ronald Reagan. Didn't know that. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
In December of 1960, a man stalked President-elect Kennedy, figured out his routines, tracked him down to West Palm Beach, loaded his body and his car with dynamite, gas, and all this stuff, enough to, quote, level a mountain, and got within 6 feet of Kennedy, had the trigger in his hand, was going to hit it, and then he looked up in the church, outside of the church, and he saw Jackie Kennedy and I guess Caroline Kennedy, and decided that he did not want to kill a man in front of his family, and decided he would wait. Tracked him around for another week before the Secret Service finally figured out what the deal was, and they arrested him.
So he very likely would have been at least shot or whatever in 60.
Never. Oh, yeah. Oh, he was going to blow him up.
Yeah.
He was going to suicide bomb him. Kennedy, as the president-elect, they let him drive a car by himself in 1960.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell are you doing? And then here was the one that I didn't know. In 2005.
Hang on, you knew all those?
I didn't know that. I didn't know either one of those. But here was the one that really got me because it's modern times. In 2005, George W. Bush was in Georgia, not the state, the country.
Sure.
And he had just delivered a speech, and a man threw a grenade with the pins pulled at him. And he had the grenade wrapped in this bright red handkerchief.
Okay.
And the handkerchief stopped the chemicals from mixing, which stopped it from going off, but it landed within 16 feet of Bush. Had it gone off, it absolutely would have killed him.
In 05.
In 05. So here was the question. In 1960, Kennedy, this was going to happen on the Sunday before the Tuesday that the Electoral College met and officially did the thing.
Sure.
So technically, while Kennedy was the president-elect, he wasn't the president-elect.
Because they haven't actually.
He was, but he wasn't.
Yeah.
Okay? Does that make sense?
Sure.
Which means that Lyndon Johnson was the vice president-elect.
But he wasn't.
And it had been a tightly contested election between Kennedy and Richard Nixon, where basically it was a popular vote tie. 50-50.
Okay.
They have no idea what they would have done. That was the fascinating thing about it, was they had to because a lot of the chain of command stuff that got amended in 1967 had not yet been amended in
So
1960.
what was the chain of command?
They don't know. So Dwight Eisenhower's term ended on January the 20th, 1961. But had Kennedy been killed, there was nobody who technically
so it wouldn't have been like his the former vice or the current vice president.
No, because his term ended on January the 20th, 1961 at noon also. They think it would have probably been Johnson, but it would have been a congressional nightmare. How about that?
Well, you would have you would have the delegates to have the ability to get together and just nominate whomever. Though.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, that's basically what they were saying.
So it still would have gone down party lines, right?
Well, I mean, so it could.
I know what you mean. I mean,
so it could have.
Yeah.
What the question would be with the Electoral College? Is anybody else before we go down this? Is anybody else interested in this? Because I could do this for hours, and I'm a geek, and I'm a total loser, and I acknowledge it. The Electoral College could technically, and most people think they would have said, okay, well, here's what the American people voted for, so let's do this. But they would have constitutionally, Chase, been able to go, F it, we're going to do this. Because now they don't have a president-elect. And in that scenario, Kennedy's dead. Johnson's not the vice president-elect for another 48 hours.
Right.
How's that work? And Eisenhower's vice president, by the way, was Nixon.
We had a couple of flaws in the.
Well, yeah, it tells you that it's one of the reasons that when you do the founding fathers and they wrote the Constitution and all the things that they did,
it's amazing how many they actually got right.
They didn't miss much. I mean, those sons of bitches looked ahead to everything. Yet they didn't have that one ironed out. So how would that have worked?
It's a credit to how good intelligence and the Secret Service is today. Well, not even necessarily Trump, but just in general, modern day, that there have not been more credible threats or actual attempts that had some validity.
Well, there were multiple attempts on Lincoln's life. Someone got within Lincoln and it didn't work. And Lincoln hit the guy with a cane. Do you know that?
No.
And then another guy shot Lincoln, missed him, but a bullet went through his hat, his top hat.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Crazy stuff. Someone tried to kill Ford in Sacramento, and the Secret Service officer was able to put his thumb between the hammer and the whatever of the, that stopped the guy. It was
the hammer from going off.
Squeaky Fromm was within feet of Gerald Ford.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it had to hurt.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I mean, that really had to hurt.
Ford had a really bad day that day, so he was on a freight elevator to go down to leave, and the elevator closed vertically, and he didn't know it. He thought the elevator closed, horizontally, and so the elevator door came down on top of his head, cracked his scalp open. They had to take him back to his room, change his clothes. He was in pain, bleeding, stitch him up, and then he came down and someone tried to shoot him. It's a rough day at the office now.
I almost wonder if he saved his life by getting hit by the elevator, though.
Probably.
Because, you change any little butterfly effect there.
Yeah. And then we went down the path on American election. I don't know why I'm so fascinated by this. When you really break down the Kennedy presidency, he didn't do much.
Mm-hmm.
If Kennedy doesn't get shot, real chance in 1964 he loses to Goldwater.
Really?
Yeah. Goldwater wanted to run against Kennedy because it would have been this great contrast. Instead, he got Johnson, who was a lot like him, and got his ass kicked. Goldwater didn't want to take the nomination because he said the country doesn't want 3 presidents in 14 months.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyway, that's your history lesson for the day. I apologize. I'm sorry.
Book one more time.
It's
like you wrote it. I'm like doing a little book review here.
Accidental Presidents, 8 Men Who Changed America. It's by Jared Cohen.
Here in the next few weeks, I actually think we do have a political book show coming. So
Oh, really?
yeah. You're not even aware of this.
Uh-uh.
So yeah.
Cool.
Let's see. You want to take some calls?
Yeah, let's take calls.
Okay.
Now that I've goofed people out.
I mean, unless you have some more, then we'll hang on.
That's does it for tonight's history lesson.
I can wait. Is anyone threatening? What's going on with golf up here? What are we doing?
It's very pretty.
Okay. I know there's a little empty sound.
Talk politics with Bubba, perhaps.
I mean, whatever.
CJ wants to know if you think Ricky Fowler ever wins a major.
A regional? Probably doesn't win a regional. Yeah, I do. I mean, I think he'll eventually win one. He's got like 6 or 7 top 5s. I mean, he didn't win a ton, and he's overrated. But no, he's a good player. He'll run into one day. He's a capitalist. I'll give him that. Never seen an endorsement he didn't like. So he might be Neal's favorite player.
Sounds like my kind of guy.
Yeah. What's going on?
Hey, Neal, Chase, it's Bubba. How y'all doing tonight?
Hey, Bubba, you sound like you've been in the sauce a little bit.
I have. I'm living the bachelor life. I'm on day 3 of 5. Mary took Miller down to Sulligent to see the grandkids and spoil them. And me and 3 and 8 are eating junk food, beer, and bored and watching TV all we want.
What junk food are you having there?
Floating. I've eaten a bunch of pizza and just a bunch of junk food, you know. So I'm a little slow tonight. I apologize. My friend brought back this beer from Tennessee called Astronaut Beer. I'm drinking 4 of them, and then I looked at them, and they're 12%. So I'm
Ooh.
Well, it's like drinking a cinnamon bun with vanilla taste, and it's I'm the drunkest fool in Tippah County right now. But there's 3 things I know. I'll have a hellfire hangover tomorrow, and I'll be calling in sick, and I ain't answering the phone when Mary calls. I'll get me a tongue lashing. So anyway,
she won't be happy that you had a few extra.
Well, I didn't know how strong they were. Miller Lite's like 4 or 5%. I looked at that and said, "Oh dear Lord!" I drank after the 3rd one, but oh well.
What are you watching on television?
I was watching Netflix. This thing about Last Chance U.
Yeah.
It's all right. I'll do anything to watch football.
What's which JUCO is in this season?
The one in California, I believe.
Yeah, because the dude in Kansas, like that went nutty. Like that made everybody else look sane, right?
Yeah. People were uncomfortable with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that boy need to be locked up. But yeah, anyway, senior and junior, they both had him about half a beer apiece. They're sleeping. We're all doing all right. I just don't want to embarrass myself tonight. But
we were
glad
talking.
you got your
We were talking presidential politics just then, Bubba. I'm curious to get your thoughts on the current race. Trump, what appears to be Trump versus Biden. What do you think?
Well, I think Trump's a little crazy, and I think Biden's a little senile.
That's
so
fair.
I'd love to see them debate. I mean, Trump, at least you know what you're getting. It's like a crazy uncle. And Biden, man, they need to put him in a rest home. He just sit there and slobber on himself. So, but I got a great repo story for you boys if you want to hear it.
Let's hear it.
So it's the first time I have ever repoed a Clark Ford. They had the tag on the front, had it on the back. Guy was a little down on his luck. He lost his job because of the Rona and behind on his payments. He's real sad. But I drove off and I looked at Senior. He's in the cab with me. I said, Senior, just like the commercials, I'm not his truck guy. I'm his tow truck guy. So anyway, but just want y'all to know, I got one question.
Okay.
Just make a comment. Want y'all to know they're going to be playing football in Walnut. The Walnut Wildcats be playing this year. And I've been hearing that Ole Miss might be playing State in the first game. I'll hang up, and I really appreciate you boys tonight.
Appreciate it, Bubba. Have a good one. Don't have 3 or 4 more though. Might be one too many.
Sleep well.
Do what?
He'll sleep well. I don't know whether Ole Miss and State are going to play the first game or not. I know that a certain reporter just came out emphatically saying that was not going to happen, and maybe he knows something. I don't know. We'll see.
You think it's possible?
Sure. Hey, who's this?
22, Drew from Yazoo City.
Hey, Drew, what's up?
Oh, nothing much. It's been a while since I called in. I was on a probationary period after I told everybody I was going to get laid. Of course, my brother-in-law happened to be listening. So my wife found out it was just a hot mess. But anyway, I'm here calling back in.
How'd you extricate yourself from that situation? Did it just take time? You had to serve your sentence, or was there something that had to happen?
She took it pretty well, I'd say. Got a lot of text messages, for sure. I tell you one test that you don't get false positives on is pregnancy test. So, yeah, it all worked out. I ended up getting what I wanted in the end.
Okay, that's good. Well, congratulations.
Anyway, I was laughing about Ford getting – I didn't even know if Gerald Ford had an assassination attempt. Like, who wanted to kill Gerald Ford? Didn't he have a pretty, bland presidency?
Yeah, he finished Nixon's term. That was all. And then he ran for election against Carter, and it was super close. It was the one I remember. I was 1976. I was 6 years old. I remember that night. It's one of my first memories. Asking my dad who he voted for, and he said, "You don't tell people who you voted for."
Yeah, that's probably a smart law to live
by.
But
it was really close, and Gerald Ford almost won New York. Believe it or not, the Republican almost won the state of New York, and had he won New York, he would have won the White House.
That probably was the last time a Republican would have come close to winning the state of New York.
Yeah.
He wasn't he the one that at Saturday Night Live made fun of him so much because he would fall down or something a lot?
Ooh, I don't know about that. I don't know.
Have been misremembering. But hey, Chase, I was laughing real hard. You gave me a good trip down memory lane this week on my lunch break when you said something about servicing pipes, and it made me remember.
I didn't hang up on him. We've gone silent, but I have not touched a thing. So it wasn't like I was trying to get out of the story. There you are. You're back.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Sometimes I lose service in my house, ceasefire, But anyway, and I was just curious. Did you realize that you had said it at the moment, or was it after the fact people texted you?
All right, repeat it. You broke up when you told me what actually we were talking about.
About pipes.
You were talking about servicing pipes or something this week, and it made me think of the blowjob bar gas.
The first time, I did it twice. The first time I did it, I didn't realize it. I started it was once it had gone out and been published, and I'm getting texts and calls and whatever, and getting harassed for it there. That was that. Now the second time I knew it, and it was just you're pot committed at that point. You could go back, but you didn't edit it in. I mean, if anything, really, it was we're trying to close there because it definitely brought in more business. So.
In your defense, I mean, they should have named it the blowout bar or something. Blow dry bar that's tough. It's like a tongue twister.
Might be great marketing. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that might have gotten an increase in mail attendance. I don't know. But anyway, well, guys, really enjoyed y'all's podcast and kind of keeping everything sane during the last couple months. But,
it's been 5 months. It's been 5 months, Drew. Not a couple months. It's been 5 months.
That's true.
5 months.
If my business hadn't been considered essential, which it seems arbitrary at this point, but I don't know what I would have done. I would have gone crazy. But I'm already a little crazy. But anyway, and the thing I was thinking about, though, with Keith Carter meeting with Tate is, about the capacity. Aren't all the restaurants and everything supposed to be at a certain capacity right now?
It's 50, right?
I think so.
I believe it's 50.
50? I mean, I live in Madison now. I'm not really in Yazoo anymore. But, I'm walking in. I went and got takeout tonight, and it's everywhere's packed. And I'm like, who's policing this is kind of my point. Is it just seems like we're saying these things, you're 6 feet 7 feet. Like, it just, I don't know. I guess we're supposed to self-police, but
The answer is I'm not sure anybody really is.
yeah.
And so it's what's weird. Although at Carson's soccer practice last night, there were people that were out there with clipboards taking pictures.
Man.
They were taking pictures of boys during their water breaks. You talk about pathetic
That's a bad
people.
look. Bad
You
visual there.
talk about lifeless, pathetic people.
I know.
I mean, those people. I mean, you mentioned you got in trouble for trying to get something a couple months ago. Those people haven't had that in a long time, maybe ever.
Yeah, it's just wild to me that like people that care that much about what other people do. It's got to be a miserable way to live your life, man. Like,
Has to be.
I don't know.
Has to be.
Yeah, I try to keep on like just waiving standards with my neighbors. I don't want to get too close, so I don't get asked to do anything. But I don't want to be the guy that everybody thinks is a dick. I just want to be just normal. And then I don't care what you do as long as it doesn't affect me. So, but anyway, guys. Well, hey, I appreciate it. Y'all have a good night. Enjoy the show.
You too. Thank you. So was it noticed at the time?
Yeah, we noticed it. That's why I put on 3 masks.
Oh, it was 3.
I put 3 masks on to walk around, and I made my new profile pic. Everybody thinks it's just 2 masks. I'm disappointed it was 3 masks. I started to hang, and I had an extra mask. I was going to hang it over my ear, which probably would have proven the point better.
Who are we talking to?
Hey, this is Anthony in Woodstock, Georgia.
Hey, Anthony, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, guys? But I just wanted to talk about this quarantine thing. I wonder, Neal mentioned it earlier. It is true. I feel like, we've lost some friends with how people are, acting. In Georgia, we have the option to, the remote learning or in person. And I feel like a lot of people are, kind of cheering for disaster. Like they're sharing every negative article. And just, it's insane, but it's a little frustrating, but, we'll see what happens after, a few weeks.
I do think, I mean, look, difference of opinion. Nobody wants this. I mean, I know we have a sports writer thing or whatever, but like most people, citizen-wise, parents, you're not wanting a pandemic. You're trying to protect your kid. You have different levels of worry and different levels of different things. It is frustrating to me because, I mean, I don't know about friends per se, but just all the way around. We can't disagree and then not, like, put it as this huge, like, personal character flaw that is affecting relationships to that extent. I mean, there should be the ability to have debate without losing friendships over this, losing relationships over this. I mean, that's
not the way it's working.
We don't do that over gun control for the most part. I mean, I'm pretty passionate about abortion. We don't do that over abortion for the most. You know what I mean? Like, but this because. It's affecting everybody directly in a lot of things. I mean, I'm talking about apolitical people, though. Yeah. I mean, I get the political stance, but I'm talking about people who just...
But this thing has gotten to a place, Chase, not to go down this road too far, this thing has gotten to a place where it is absolutely political.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's be real about it. You have the people who lean to the right are one way, and the people that lean to the left are the other way, and there is, with everything else in our country, there is no middle ground.
No, and we have a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old, and both my wife and I are fortunate that we were able to work from home, but it was, pure chaos, like keeping 2 kids entertained while trying to have conference calls. And you had the first month, our 2-year-old had to have Toy Story on, so we would run through Toy Story 1 to 4 all day, every day, and that was fine. But so the girl in Toy Story 3, by the way, did not deserve Woody. She just completely abused him. So we can, that's a whole nother topic. But then, it got to my 2-year-old got stuck on the Wiggles, which is the worst show ever. The worst show.
Yeah, have I ever told you the story?
So we sent him back to daycare.
I never had to watch the Wiggles.
When Campbell was little, maybe when both of the girls, I can't remember. I had to go to, I'm trying to think. No, it was before Caroline was born. I had to go, we were in Mobile, and I had to leave Christmas Day to go down to Orlando to meet the Auburn team. That was back in the day when you had to cover every single moment of a bowl prep. And that year we had watched the Wiggles Christmas. I don't know, man. I would guess 300 times. And I'm driving from Mobile to Orlando, and I catch myself singing to myself the Wiggles Christmas. It had been such a soundtrack in my head, and I couldn't get it out.
See, I was always told Wiggles and what's the other one? Kalu, like those are the worst ones.
That kid.
I never had
Awful.
to do either one of them at all. I have no experience with either one.
He's horrible.
Yeah. Octonauts is another one that my daughter was stuck on, and she actually, knows pretty much any kind of fish. You go to the aquarium, and she knows more than the people that work there. So it's been interesting. But her, her face this week picking her up from school. I mean, she was just, she was so excited to see her friends again. So, I hope for them, that we're able to get back to some norm soon. But it has been quarantined with them for months. 2 kids is definitely our limit. So there's not going to be a third. So I wonder if
words.
The parents with the it's maybe adopt one that's 16, 17, can babysit, baby can get a football scholarship. That'd be beneficial. So
yeah, I got to find a way to get.
Well, anyways,
you go ahead.
No, I'm about to run into the gym. Today is the first day back in the gym after 5 months. I popped a button off my shorts, so it's time to go.
Yeah.
Appreciate the call.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Whoa.
Eric says, have y'all ever heard the fan theories on Caillou? It's some dark stuff. I've not.
Oh, really?
I would actually be interested in going down that rabbit hole.
You would?
Yeah.
Okay. Who are we talking to?
Patrick from Charleston, West Virginia.
Hey, Patrick, what's up? What's up in Charleston?
Oh, living life. My Xbox is behind where the show is tonight.
That's okay.
Yeah, that happens for everybody. When you get on the call, you don't realize that you got to turn everything down because it's not quite synced up with latency.
That's fine. I just wanted to call and tell you I enjoyed the show, and I've enjoyed this lawyer talk. I'm a litigator, and I think that a lot of these companies are just too risk adverse. I mean, the jury's made up of regular people, and especially with the COVID, there are some divisive opinions. And I would be shocked if you would get a jury that would be so against you. You're going to have people on that jury that think that if you went to the game and you got sick, hey, it's on you.
That's what I was going to ask
At the end of the day, these companies have to make money.
What would be the things you would look for, like in jury selection, though? Like when you're trying to figure this out, like how would you go about that if you're on that side of the deal?
Sure, there's all professional ways of picking juries, but you typically look for personalities. So you try to find some people that aren't super strong personalities, because those are the ones that are going to try to sway a jury either way. And you become a jury of 1 versus a jury of 6. And I'm not licensed to practice in Mississippi. I went to Ole Miss for law school, licensed practice in West Virginia and Georgia. But in a civil trial in West Virginia, 6 juries. And so you're looking at their occupation, you're looking at their background, you're asking them questions, seeing how often they're engaged, how often they've sat on other juries. But you're typically going to get a pretty representative portion of folks. And I think for the most part, and I've tried a handful of cases now in my legal career, I mean, it's pretty fairly representative. And so I think you can connect with the jury on a personal level, and people always will draw on their life experiences and when they decide stuff. So like this topic of, oh my God, we just got to be so scared of liability. I just don't see that, because I think you're going to pull a bunch of people on the other side of the coin in the jury box, and you're going to have jurors in there that say, no, I don't think that. And you're not going to, those people aren't going to persuade the other jurors.
From a liability standpoint, let's say someone goes to the West Virginia game. West Virginia's playing, I don't know, whoever. And someone goes to the game at some point in the ensuing weeks or days, is diagnosed with COVID, ultimately dies from COVID, okay?
Mm-hmm.
What would the family sues the University of West Virginia, sues whoever, sues the university? How difficult would it be for someone to prove that his or her family member got the virus at the game, and that's ultimately what led to his or her demise?
So it really depends. I think if you talk to any lawyer, they'll probably tell you that all it takes to file a lawsuit often is the filing fee and a lawyer. You'd have to be able to connect the dots, I think. So that person who says they got the virus, they're going to be living life. They're going to have done other things. If they're going to the WVU football game, then they were probably going to church.
Right.
They're probably going to their job. They're going to the grocery store. They're going to, a birthday party. So they're going to lots of places. And so I do think for these lawsuits, causation is going to be a significant issue. You're going to have a battle of the experts because this disease is prevalent. I mean, lots of people are going to get it. I think it's been found it's pretty contagious. And so I do think that is one of the defenses you would have in these cases. The people who are going to these games are not going to be the people who want to shelter in place. They're going to be the people that are less risk adverse.
It's a great point. Yeah, of course.
So maybe the fear is going to be secondhand. Hey, this person went to the game, and because they went to the game, I got sick. Well, now you're getting further removed from foreseeability and responsibility. Because how can the school be responsible for people who didn't even attend the game that are now claiming that they've been injured? And I mean, when you get a ticket, you're a license holder, and so you're taking that ticket also subject to conditions. So I think as long as the schools are proactive and have some measures. I mean, I'm not saying like let anybody in and if they're sick, just ignore it. But I think if you put some measures in place, if it's wear a mask and you have, some social distancing and
they're going to do
mindful
that.
of lines.
Let me ask you this. I didn't mean to interrupt, but if
Sure.
you were advising a university, Ole Miss, West Virginia, whoever, if you were advising a university, would you say, hey, invest in the extra people to take everyone's temperature on the way in?
I think so, because that's always, if you're proactive in something, it's always a defense. And so let's say you have the worst case scenario and you get sued and gets to a jury verdict and they're asking for punitive damage because they're saying you're reckless. Well, how are you reckless if you're hiring extra people to do this? You're just running your business at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And so, again, I think there are safe ways to do this. And I've been very appreciative of listening to the podcast and you guys not losing sight. There's just some people, I think they're just too narrow-minded, living in the moment. Hey, we're really worried about getting sick and not thinking about the future consequences. It might just be a football game to some, but some those kids that play, that might be the game they get to go in. It might be a time for someone to take a date to a game of a girl they like that they wouldn't have otherwise got. Those are memories that you never get. Those are opportunities. There's economic consequences beyond belief. I hope we never shut down again in West Virginia because the first shutdown was tough to get through.
Yeah, I'm in complete agreement. Let me ask you this, because people talk about the tickets, and all the tickets are going to be electronic, obviously. And electronic tickets have tons of, disclaimers and that kind of thing. Those disclaimers, which obviously will include COVID language, do those hold up in a court of law? Do they help in this case, a university defend itself?
So, again, it depends. Would you get off scot-free and say, hey, this was in the disclaimer and you can't sue me? I don't think so. I mean, how many times have you had an Apple iTunes contract come up and you just hit accept?
Of course.
But I do think it's evidence, because you had an opportunity to review it. You had an opportunity to say, no one forces you, puts a gun to your head, says you got to go to the football game. And so you're taking that risk when you go, and they've let you know that risk. And so I think it is a factor held against you. And so what you want to do is probably not bury it. You probably want to be very transparent about that. And the more transparent you are about that, when someone complains that, hey, I went to the game and I got sick, well, what about this warning? What about this warning? What about this warning? Well, you knew about this. And then their credibility kind of fades away.
I realize that we're turning you into Garagos here. This is my fault. I'm in total geek mode today, and it's my fault. And I apologize to everyone out there. So the universities are absolutely terrified of a kid getting it and getting bad sick, of a coach getting it and dying. That's what's scaring. People go, what's the deal? Why are they so scared? That's why. If that were to happen, and the statistics say a kid's not going to die from it, but the statistics say a coach could. A lot of these coaches are a little hefty. A lot of them have some underlying health issues. A lot of them don't take great care of themselves. It's a high-stress job, long hours. A lot of them stop exercising. You've seen them. I'm not making fun of people. I'm not shaming. I'm just keeping it real. One of those guys gets it, dies. How liable are the universities in that situation as an employer who, quote, made them do the job?
Again, everything, all my answers are always going to be it depends.
Sure.
I think there's going to be a give and take with the analysis. What precautions did the university provide? You can't coach a football team via Zoom, obviously. But there might be situations where you can put in place things that help protect the coach. You might tell that one coach, if they have an underlying health condition, hey, this is risky for you. Why don't you sit a year? We're going to promote this young assistant to do the job, and then we'll give you your job back in 2021.
Yeah.
So I think if I was advising a university, I think there are there are things you can do to lessen your risk going forward. If somebody dies, it will be tragic, and you have to acknowledge that fact. You have to be empathetic of that, and you have to, look at that situation, even before you get to that situation, to make sure that you've done everything you can to prevent it. But, some things happen at the end of the day. And so if the fear is going to be, hey, we can't do this because someone might get sick and die, then we're never going to play football this year, because that might happen. But I think, from the university perspective, there are safety measures they can put in place that are practical, that make sense, without going so far afield that it makes the endeavor not worthwhile.
You didn't think
so that's the give and take conversation.
You didn't think you'd get grilled when you called in, did you?
No, I did when I was talking about being a lawyer, because I know you guys talk all the time about these risk measures, and I think sometimes general counsel advising these companies. And look, I litigate every day. I'm a plaintiff. I'm a defendant. I do a lot of business litigation, a lot of construction litigation, wrongful deaths. So I've seen it from both sides of the coin, and I just think there's this apprehensive fear of jury verdicts. And I'm sure maybe there's someone on the board that's a big-time plaintiff in Jackson and says maybe we should be more fearful of the juries. But I think they get it right a lot of the time if you can put your evidence in and tell your story.
It's got these school systems terrified, man. I mean, that's why people are like, what is the deal? Why are like in Oxford, and not to get on my deal, I mean, 68% of the parents said, let's go back. Our kids need to go back. I mean, this virtual stuff doesn't work. The kids need to go back. I'm worried that my kid's going to lose his mind. I'm worried my kid's going to go hang himself, if we're totally honest. I mean, people are scared about this stuff.
And so think about that jury pool now. You're talking about 68%. That's 7 out of 10 practically, if you're picking a jury. So half of the juries you're going to get are going to have that viewpoint, more than half. And so why are you scared?
I'm with you.
You have the power.
I mean, my next trial to litigate will be my first. But that's what I've told people today. I'm like, I don't understand. I mean, we all assume a certain level of risk. I mean, if the argument is going to be we cannot take risk, well, then shut the school buses down, because every time one of those buses the goes from park to drive, we accelerate risk, right? I mean, there's a degree of risk that happens when you do that. I mean,
Sure.
I mean, I'm not trying to minimize this, but I mean, every time you put all these kids in a school together, they become a target for some nut that, I mean, it happens, unfortunately, all over the country all the time. We get school shootings and stuff. If we're terrified of that risk, then we don't need to ever let them congregate at the school ever again. I mean, if the goal is to eliminate risk, that's the key word. If the goal is to eliminate risk, then we can't do anything anymore. We can never play football again, because football inherently has risk.
No, I agree. You can never eliminate risk. All you can do is manage it and know going into it what the risks are.
Yes, you can mitigate
so
it,
that's
but you
what-
cannot eliminate it. And that's
Sure.
my problem with the coronavirus is that it feels like we've gone from let's mitigate it, flatten the curve, right? We can't overwhelm the hospital system. Everybody understood that. To we must eradicate the virus. At which point I'm like, well, no, wait a minute, what? Because what if that takes 2 years? And so the people go, well, we have to shut everything down. I mean, I know for an absolute fact that today there were calls made to municipalities in Oxford in Mississippi, not Oxford, municipalities in the state that was, hey, all right, the schools have been delayed. Now you guys need to close all the businesses. It shows you a complete lack of understanding of what happens if you close those businesses. You talk about West Virginia. If you go through a shutdown again, the state can't handle it. It's that way everywhere. You can't do shutdowns. If you shut down businesses again in this town, I don't know what the number is, 20%, 40%, they just don't make it. You know, there comes a point where you just don't make it. There has to be a certain acceptance of a certain level of risk.
No, I agree. So we'll see what happens. You know, hopefully, I think that I've told everyone in my office because I'm one of the few SEC guys. I said that I think the SEC will play even if there was an apocalyptic war. But we'll see. Hopefully, we'll get some football. But I've enjoyed the podcast, and to chase Statesman over 1910. Do yourself a favor, but everything on the Old Forester line is great. I was a snob of Old Forester when I was in law school. I've embraced it now. Between Prohibition, 1910, Statesman, can't go wrong.
Yeah, Prohibition's the only one I'm not a big fan of for whatever reason. I just can't quite get into the 1920.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But anyways,
yep.
Good job.
Do you
guys.
make it to Do you make it to Morgantown very often?
Every now and then, once in a blue moon, my firm hosts a tailgate party. I'm desperately trying to get WVU and the SEC if it will expand, but I'm just one man, and I don't have enough political clout probably in the state to
it's funny
to make it happen.
It's funny. There was a point where West Virginia was mentioned as an expansion target for the SEC.
It would make it honestly culturally. I mean, the tailgating, the people, it has a lot of feel to an SEC. It's got its own unique stance. But, you get a rivalry with Kentucky, and frankly, I'd like it because I'd like to watch Ole Miss play. I get down there every now and then when I'm seeing my wife's family, but, not close, West Virginia and Mississippi. But I'll shut up and listen, and thank guys.
Don't be a stranger. Thanks for the call.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Probably not what he intended when he called.
Yeah, I think I might have to get you his number to just get him on once a week and have a legal segment.
Well, my Saturday morning always listen to is Reasonable Doubt. Corolla. And
if you put it's scheduled for you, Garagos and Corolla.
Every Saturday morning, Garagos and Corolla. It's fantastic.
Really?
Yeah, I love Mark Garagos.
Okay.
And I love Adam Corolla, and the two of them together, I
listen to it a pretty good bit, but you've become a Corolla guy. You're
Corolla is such a common sense guy. I mean, Corolla is what I would be if I were successful, and he thinks a lot like I think. I mean, you've been around me for a long time, and you've listened to him. You got to admit our brains work similarly. His is more. He's able to capitalize on his more than I'm able to capitalize on mine, but we think a lot alike.
Thanks for hanging in. It took a minute there, but we got to you.
Hey, that's no problem. It's Thomas over to plug again tonight. How are y'all tonight?
Oh, we're hanging in.
We're good.
Yeah, I heard the last conversation. I'm going to kind of lighten it up a little bit. Have you guys listened to the newest American scandal about the tobaccos wars with Mike Moore and Dickie Scruggs?
Oh, I didn't know that was a new season.
I knew it was out, but I haven't gotten to it yet. Is it good?
Oh, it's good. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, it's worth the listen. It's about 5 episodes, but you can imagine Dickie Scruggs pulling off some of the stuff that he pulls off in that podcast. It's pretty good. The other thing I wanted to call you guys about tonight was I've had this theory in my head rattling around unfortunately since spring break, that all the national pundits who are calling for football just to shut down, you got to close it all down, haven't really said a word, who also carry the water for the NCAA, who haven't said a word about how much money the NCAA is losing because there was no basketball, and possibly no basketball in the spring because they're afraid that it would put the word out there that they actually make money off the student athlete.
All right, take me through that again. Like, because I kind of understand what you're saying.
Like the Dan Walkers of the world, the Pat Forties,
Yeah.
are not putting out stories about how much money the NCAA is losing because there's no basketball tournament, because they're afraid it would forward the progress or forward the agenda that, hey, the NCAA actually makes money off the student athletes, because that goes against everything that they've been saying for the last, 40 years?
Yeah, well,
that's a good point. Instead of the school, it's the NCAA going, hey, we're pocketing
Correct.
$800 million or whatever it is.
Yeah, because the NCAA has been able to, on football, sort of wash its hands, go, hey, you guys are going to figure this out for yourself.
That's exactly right.
But on
now,
basketball, here's what's interesting on basketball is that there are some media types. This is really fascinating. And if it happens, I'm going to have a field day with it. There are
you could credit me for putting this bug in your ear, so I'll leave it at that.
All right. So there are some media types that are having to decide, because the NCAA is apparently flirting with the idea of an NCAA basketball bubble. Now, understand what that means.
Oh, God, can you? Oh, that's.
I mean, think about this for a minute, right? Because it works with the NBA, but those are professionals. And so you take these NBA franchises, they took, 22 down to Orlando, and it's been very, to the NBA's credit, it's been successful in terms of the virus and being able to play the games and all of that. Whether you like the NBA or don't, it doesn't matter. It's worked. It's worked so far. And it appears that they're going to get to the playoffs, and they'll send 6 of the teams home, and they'll be down to 16 teams, and then they'll start playing a typical NBA playoff. It appears that will work. If you talk about this from a college basketball standpoint, how many college basketball teams are there?
Division I, 330-ish.
Yeah, 300, and then 65 make the tournament, or 66.
Yeah, so for kicks and giggles, let's just say you cut that in half. Can you imagine taking 160 teams down to a bubble for a season?
Come on.
It's insane. Yet,
but
here's my point, guys. Here's my point, then I'll shut up. When that idea comes up, you're going to see national media guys go, oh, well, it's a thought. When in reality, it's insane. But they're so in bed with the NCAA. I mean, they are in the bed with their shrimp cocktail, just totally naked under the sheets, and they can't say it.
By the way, the number real quick, Thomas, in 2019, the NCAA generated from television and marketing rights segments for this $867 million in 2019.
Oh, but yeah, that's just nuts. And here's what I think would probably happen. Talk about a bubble. It wouldn't shock me to go, well, we only need, 32 bubbles the first weekend, and then we can cut it to 16 the second weekend, and by the end we'll only have one bubble.
But how do you get to that bubble? I mean, are you going to play college basketball with no fans? Because here's the thing about college basketball with no fans is it suddenly goes from being a profit-making sport to a money-draining sport.
It only makes sense if you have TV and fans.
It's like we've talked about baseball. Yeah. Baseball makes no sense if you can't have fans at the games. So suddenly, even programs like Ole Miss and Texas A&M and LSU and Arkansas and Mississippi State, programs that make money off baseball, suddenly if you can't have fans, they don't make money. It makes no sense to play.
Oh, yeah, and what about the Dan Walkins of the world who are saying you can't play football if you can't have fans or whatnot? Are they going to turn around and say the same thing in basketball?
Well, that's what I can't wait to see because I'm waiting. I've got a couple of columns in my computer that are just itching, waiting for things to happen so that I can punch publish.
They are. They're going to go, hey, it's because football was outside. It was safer to have no fans there, but we're inside. We can't have fans, but the kids can still play. They're going to say that because that's what they're going to do.
Oh,
they don't make money on football.
I think you're right. I can't wait to watch it. It's why if there's a college football season, Pat Forty wrote a column that said that if there's no college football season, it's all Trump's fault.
Yep.
And me just being a complete jerk, I'm working on a column
Shocking.
that says if there is a college football season, according to Pat Forty's logic, it has to be because Trump got it done. I mean, both things are completely insane. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't actually believe that you can credit Donald Trump for there being a football
You're
season.
not advocating for that?
No. But my point is that column was equally idiotic.
But Trump will be at the first college football game, right?
Well, he
You
should
know
be.
that.
If I were him, I would be.
I mean, it makes sense, but I just find it so hypocritical that these columnists that are calling for college football to shut down, to tote the water for the NCAA, have not even brought up basketball and the amount of money that the NCAA makes off of the college basketball athlete. It's just hypocritical.
That's right.
I agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, all right, guys, y'all have a good night.
All
Enjoy your show.
Appreciate it,
Don't drink
Thomas.
too much.
Thank you.
All right, man.
It's a good point. I mean, it is. They have decisions to make from a standpoint of who's water to carry here in a few months. Speaking of, you tried the cocktail sauce yet?
I have not. Have you?
I've tried the steak sauce on a sandwich.
How was it?
It's good. Yeah, it was fine. I think they're all a little spicy. Like, I think it's just kind of their thing.
So is
They're
it
all
like a
gonna
spicy A1?
It's kind of, yeah, it was a little more of a kicking A1 is what it was. I think that's probably a pretty good example. I have not tried the horseradish cream sauce yet or the cocktail sauce. I'm eager to try the cocktail sauce.
Yeah.
I just haven't gotten to it. Haven't had shrimp for that one yet. So.
To do it right, you'd have to boil some shrimp, cool them, and put them in the ice cocktail thing, right?
And
Get
then
'em-
smother them.
Get them cold and then
Because
smother
we saw
them.
the picture from Blake a couple months ago.
You could
and
hardly
they
see
were-
the shrimp because of the
it was
cocktail,
just cocktail sauce.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a bowl of cocktail sauce. Yeah. It was something. So, anyway, good callers tonight, bringing up a lot of stuff.
Have you watched an extra innings baseball game? Do you like the runner on second with nobody out?
I mean, I know what we're doing, but I have not watched it.
I thought I would hate it. I really loved
It's
it.
been a softball rule for a while, even when I umpired back in the day. So I've seen it in action, not at the major league level, but it's fine. I have no problem with it.
I actually
It doesn't count
liked
as an
it.
earned run, by the way.
No. Do you like the DH?
Yeah, I don't care. It's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah, whatever. I mean, I get the purity of the game, the decision making in late innings, but at the end of the day, nobody wants to see the pitcher hit.
No.
I mean, it's kind of neat when a pitcher can hit,
Sure.
but it's
The pitcher can still hit. He's on the roster.
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They don't even hit in college.
I mean, like Zach Greinke can hit. He can legitimately hit. So
but is he going to legitimately hit better than the DH
you know what?
if you gave him enough reps?
He might be the one.
You think that's possible?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a National League guy, but it doesn't really bother me. I don't know. Again, I'm so used to college baseball where no pitchers hit. So whatever, sure, sounds great. Looks great, awesome. What are you turning into?
I don't know. I'm seeing what NBA game's on real quick. Ooh, that's not what I want to watch.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I
You
don't
wanna tell
want
them what you've not
the
watching?
WNBA. I'm not
Okay.
watching.
It's a no-go at the moment.
Yeah. Lakers Rockets, but I think LeBron and Harden are out of this game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why?
The Lakers have clinched the 1 seed, so they're probably just protecting.
They each are playing 8 games. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I think Harden has like a hit pointer or something. I mean, it's fine. It's fine.
Corey asked me, would I try spicy Whataburger ketchup on my meat lovers? Sure, that's fine. I have no issue with that. I'm not. That's fairly. That's quality ketchup. That's not like I'm putting some generic bad ketchup on there. So sure.
I've got the house to myself Saturday,
Uh-huh.
so I have to decide like what I'm gonna have. I'm gonna do something.
What are you gonna do?
I don't know. That might be where I do the shrimp cocktail.
Really?
Maybe just for fun.
It-
Just go get like 8 shrimp and boil them. Put them on ice and
Gonna
then
light you
try
on
it.
Fire. It's gonna light you on fire.
Who we have?
Chase, hey, it's Rhino in Dallas. It's Ryan in Dallas. I snuck out to call you.
Oh, okay.
Why'd you have to sneak out? You couldn't hang in? We couldn't talk to everybody at once, have a little group activity?
That wouldn't wouldn't be a great time to do a whole lot of that stuff right now. If you understand.
Do we need to keep our voices down too, just to keep this?
No.
Okay.
No, it's we muted our device. I've taken Chase's cues for enough time.
Gotcha.
So I'm lucky enough, boys, to live in the great state of Texas, where we are still, as grown adults, allowed to make our own decisions, and it's pretty remarkable. So we're allowed to have a wedding. Our original guest count was about 230. It's down to about 160 now. And I think it's kind of just I think it's a good lesson for maybe how we should model, the rest of society. If you aren't comfortable doing something, then you don't need to.
How'd you
stay
cut
home.
from 230 to 160? Was that difficult, or was that were those pretty easy?
No, they cut themselves.
Oh,
yeah.
It was strictly them. Okay.
That was people saying we don't feel comfortable doing it, which is totally fine. I mean, I will only talk shit about them behind their back, so I wouldn't do it to their face.
Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know that works, because if y'all have fun, the people that don't have fun are cheated out of the fun. So the way that this works is they're not having fun because they're bunkering down for the rest of time. Don't you need to bunker down for the rest of time? That way no one has fun, and when this is over, whenever it's over, we're all even?
Yeah, I think you're right, and maybe we should just stop everything, right? I mean, I don't know. We'd all need to just bunker down, but the people who do want to keep living their lives should have the ability to go live their lives. And if you're scared of your shadow, then lock yourself in a bunker, and we'll see you in 2027. And I hope everything's well till then.
That's that was my point. That was my point today with the school thing. Was if because here's the thing. I don't want to, because I do want to talk about the wedding. I'm fast sabotage, then we'll get back.
Yeah. Come on, rampage, Neal. Go rampage.
How come with the high school kids and the middle school kids we talk to everyone except for, and I know this is a novel concept, the kids? Why don't we ask the kids, are you scared? Do you want to go to school? Because if a bunch of kids said, I'm scared and I don't want to go to school, I'd have a totally different take on it.
Mm-hmm.
But I run into kids in this house and around this house and stuff all the time, and I've yet to meet one. Not one. And, I mean, this is male, female, white, black. I've yet to meet one that doesn't want to go to school. Shouldn't they have aren't they allowed a voice?
Only when it complies with the narrative that's being put out.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, if the voice differs from the narrative, then no, they're not allowed to have a voice.
Yeah, that's a hell of a lesson we're teaching kids, isn't it?
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. I mean, God bless them. What we're doing to them is going to corrupt people for generations. But I digress. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So
tell us about the wedding. What are we looking at? Where are the issues that are popping up right now 9 days out?
Well, we so let me set the stage for you. We're both Ole Miss undergrads. We met at Ole Miss, and I realized she was way out of my league, and I was going to go wherever the hell she wanted me to, and she was going back to Dallas. So we ended up in Dallas, but our whole bridal parties on each side are rebels, and we've already delayed this once. It was the original wedding date was April 18th. And in April, everybody said, oh, yeah, delay it till August, and you'll be great. No problem. It'll be awesome. No problem. Here we are in August, boys. And so then there's a certain segment of people going, well, why don't you delay it a little bit more? And I go, for what? So you guys can tell me in April next year it's still not safe to go out? Screw you. We're going on with our lives. I told you 230 down to 160.
Yeah.
And the entire bridal party of late 20s people, everybody is still gung ho. A lot of out of state people from Atlanta or Memphis, Oxford driving in. We've had one or two people in their late 20s who have said we don't feel comfortable because they're pregnant or they just had a baby 5-6 weeks ago, which I think is more than understandable.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with that at all. And 235 down to 160, it's still a great number, and we're all going to have a good time. And if I'm deposed in court in 8 months because everybody at my wedding got COVID, that would really suck. But maybe I'll make them sign waivers or something that they don't have to go.
Well, we have an attorney for you that can help you. He's in West Virginia, but I don't know whether. Yeah. So, you said that your bride to be and I guess her family, everybody's losing their minds. Where is the stress around?
Well, first of all, I think it's just pure wedding stress. It's not COVID stress. It's everything. It's every craziness you'd have 9 days out from a wedding. Period. So we're lucky about that. It is not COVID related. But who the hell knows? Everybody told me that about 8 to 9 days out from your wedding, everything will go to shit. And yeah, so we're all good. It's all good. Everything's wonderful and fine.
Open bar.
But open bar. We're going to have a great time.
Good deal.
What kind of spirits we got at the open bar? Are we doing like specialty drinks? What are we doing?
I think there's going to be I'm a big transfusion fan. So there's going to be a transfusion bar.
Help me. What is that?
Transfusion bar. A transfusion, Chase, you gotta help your boy out here. It is a vodka of your choosing. I prefer Tito's or maybe a little Cat Head.
Okay.
A little Cat Head vodka with
Texas
ginger ale.
Get it?
Yeah. Some ginger ale, and then just a little splash of grape juice. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Not a lot.
Yeah.
Just a little something for the color, but it's really vodka and ginger ale. And they're great at about 8:30 on the golf course when you've had a couple the night before and you don't feel great.
Okay. Never had that.
But that'll be good. The mask issue. The mask is an interesting issue here in Texas. You are required to wear one if you're in a public setting, and 99.999% of all people are wearing them. So if I see one more Facebook post saying, wear a mask, you need to wear a mask, dude, we get it. Literally everyone's wearing masks. I don't know anyone who's not wearing a mask. So I've heard that's different in some rural areas, but in Texas, everybody's wearing a mask.
So are you doing mask at the wedding, inside the ceremony?
Both of our venues, rehearsal dinner and wedding and church, have said, we would appreciate if you guys would wear a mask, but we're not the mask police and you're adults. And if you don't want to wear a mask, then, we're not going to tell you need to wear a mask. So I think a lot of people will wear a mask. I think most people will until they have a cocktail or two, and then maybe let their hair down a little bit and take the mask off. But if all you need to do,
a mask inside the church, but not at the reception.
Yes, exactly.
Gotcha.
And we went to a wedding about 2 weeks ago here in Dallas, and that's exactly what it was. Everybody in the church wore a mask. But then once you were in the reception area, people were a little standoffish at first. But yeah, after a cocktail, everybody was on the dance floor and taking the mask off. And, who knows?
It's hard to kiss the bride with a mask.
I know. Who knows? I will be surprised if she lets me kiss her by the end of the week right here. So,
band or DJ?
Got a band, wonderful band,
cool.
horn section. They're gonna be a big old time, and it was funny. Majority of the wedding vendors were helpful changing dates, but probably 25% of them were all charging upcharges or cancellation fees or rebooking fees or stuff like that, which I thought was in a little bit of poor taste. But I get it; they got to make a living too.
Yeah. Well,
I hate that we can't be there. It sounds like a party.
Where are we getting invited to a wedding? Did that one get postponed? Remember,
we were going to get invited
to a wedding.
Yeah, and then COVID interrupted it.
Okay.
We'll live stream it for you. There's a whole lot of Rebel Grovers in the wedding, so I'm sure there'll be a nice little thread posted. And I got to give a shout out to the Delta Gammas and the ATOs. It's a super swap weekend, 10-year reunion here in Dallas coming up. So Unfortunately, I think they all know each other already. It seems to be that case when you spend 4.5, 5 years in Oxford. But it'll be nice to meet everybody else's significant others after everybody else already knows each other.
Had you had the Reverend Bell, Neal could have just married you. I mean, could have got him certified online, got him out there. We could have pulled this off.
I'd be a really good wedding minister. I wouldn't do a good job of delivering like some sort of sermon, but I'd kick ass officiating a wedding.
You got I bet you'd have a good homily, Neal. You'd have some wonderful words. So boys, you're both married. I'll let you go after this, but what kind of advice would you give me for a long and happy and fruitful marriage? What in all seriousness, what do you recommend?
I mean,
drink a lot. No, I'm kidding. I don't know, man. I mean, here's the deal. I mean, look, marriages have ups and downs, and it's a roller coaster. And families don't let. Here's my advice to you: don't let your family or her family interfere to a point with your relationship that's more important than your relationship. You're your own family. When the two of you get married, you become a family, and you can't let the outside families interfere with your family.
I like it. Good advice, Chase. What do you got?
That's actually that was really, really good. I tell you, and you're already kind of there. I think so many times, I mean, communication's the easiest thing to say, and blah 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 blah, and I get it, but especially when you've been with the fiance for a while. It's a lot of like reading the tea leaves beforehand to make sure the compatibility before you get in it. You know what I mean, Neal? Like a lot of times, it's like, hey, it's kind of all got to be there before you whatever, and you got to have some conflict resolution, kind of know what's whatever. You don't want any surprises. So I think so much of it is in the pre and the choosing as much as in the actual marriage.
Yeah, and like you got stuff and she has stuff, and she doesn't have to like all of your stuff and vice versa. And it's okay to have separate things.
Yeah, be individuals.
Yeah, it's okay to in my case, it's okay to go upstairs and turn on the Cubs game and watch a Cubs Pirates game for 3 hours.
Yeah, you're not morphing into one person. You're together, but you're also maintaining some individual interest.
And if she wants to watch the Pioneer Woman for 2 hours, I'm cool with that. It doesn't mean I have to. You know what I mean?
We're a big Neal. We're a big Bravo family, which I know you see a lot of that too. So Real Housewives of whoever the hell's on that night. That's our thing.
Okay.
So I'll leave you here, but here's when I knew she was the one, gentlemen, and I think the callers will like this. It was circa a beautiful fall day, 2014. Hugh Freeze was leading the Rebels to a win against the Alabama Crimson Tide, which we didn't know at the time, but I had a buddy in town, couldn't find tickets anywhere. I had just started dating her, and I'm like, man, I wish my buddy could go to the game. And she goes, well, here, take my student ID. He can go in with my student ID. And this was before cell phones and everything. You could put your thumb over the student ID picture and get in. And I thought, man, this girl's awesome. What a killer. She wants my buddy to go to the game. What I didn't know is that she was going up to the M Club with her friends and had tickets to sit inside and booze and drink the whole game, where I was sweating my ass off in the student section.
So she's smart.
She's a smart girl. She's a very
go.
smart girl.
She
didn't let me know that either till after, but my buddy had a great time and she had a great time, and we did a whole lot of dancing to the Mustache Band afterwards at the library.
Yeah. So, well, give us a call in a few weeks. Let us know how everything went.
I appreciate you, boys. Neal, keep it up. Make Oxford great again.
Working on it.
Appreciate it, Ron. Try to get a little.
This has been one of our more interesting shows.
Yeah,
we've had a
had a lot of sanity tonight.
We've had a diverse list of callers, but they've all been, sane.
Yeah. Let's see if we keep the streak going.
Hey, who's this?
Hard.
Hey, Grind, what's up, man?
Not much, man. Just riding around Mobile right now. I'm about to, just head to my my uncles and them folks' house. I don't know if you're familiar with the Calvert area. I know you stayed out here in Mobile for a little bit. You said.
Yeah, I was in Mobile from 1999 until 2005, and then we moved across the bay to Spanish Fort.
Okay. Yeah, I'm from Birmingham. I went down here, go to South Alabama. So, I just got caught up down here and, whatnot.
Yeah.
But, man, I see everybody talking about COVID and everything. But, I just rather talk about sports. That's just really how I really just keep it tonight. What Chase said, man, you all quiet, man. What's up with him?
Me? I'm good. I'm hanging out.
Okay.
Neal's
all right.
Neal starts rampaging and running and going with it. It's like, all right, I'll sit back and click my pen and move on with my day. I'm also trying to make sure our stream doesn't die. That's somewhat important as I'm staring at the computer.
Okay. So you the tech guy running everything behind.
I am the tech guy.
He is the tech guy.
Yeah.
All right, I got you, man. Okay.
And Jay screwed up. He couldn't get our little red box thing over here working correctly. So I got a few more steps than the brain drain does to get all the calls on every night. We got to get this fixed. It's not quite working out the same way it's working for Jay.
Okay, man. Well, it's all good, man. I just want to talk about in a hypothetical situation, and I want to get y'all opinion on, some Ole Miss stuff and, also some Auburn stuff because, y'all know I'm an Auburn fan.
Okay.
But let's just say hypothetically, there's no COVID, and whatnot. Lane Kiffin gets, his full season and everything. And so let's say his first year, this year, Ole Miss goes 7-5, and they lose the bowl game, so they go 7-6.
Okay.
And the year after that, they go 8-5. And now the first year, let me say the first year they win all the non-conference games. So in that scenario, they would have beat Baylor, they would have beat Arkansas, beat Vanderbilt, and would have beat State in the last game of the regular season.
Okay.
But would let's just say they go to the Outback Bowl and they lose to Michigan State or whatever.
Sure.
So far, people are pretty happy at this point. Yeah.
Okay. And so the year after that, the second year, let's say he goes 8-4.
Okay.
They again he has the program to a level to where it is now, in my opinion, if you're a good SEC program and you schedule, and I think Ole Miss schedule somewhat a little bit more competitive than Mississippi State out of conference, but somewhat equally.
So in this scenario, they went 4-4 in the league and they won their 4 non-conference games.
Yeah.
Okay.
They went 4-4 in the league, but now I will say, and they beat LSU in that 8-4, but they end the season losing the State.
Okay.
Okay. And they win the bowl game in that year 9-4.
Okay.
And then the next year, let's say they repeat the same thing. They beat LSU, but they lose the State, and they win the bowl game.
Okay.
Okay. How is the fan base, feeling after those 3 years?
Elated,
yeah. Given where they've been since January 1st of 2016, they're pretty happy. You'd have a handful of people in that scenario who would be a little pissy about the losses to State, but that's about it. In general, people are pretty happy in that scenario because that means they've taken care of business in non-league. It means they've beaten Arkansas, like you said. It means they've beaten Vanderbilt, like you said. They haven't had those embarrassing losses.
2-1 against LSU at this point. Too.
It means they've beaten LSU a couple of times, and it means that in that scenario they've knocked somebody else off. Whether it's they picked up a win over a South Carolina or a Kentucky, or they beat an Auburn or whatever. They've picked up enough wins. There's enough to hang your hat on as a fan that you're in that scenario. You're generally happy.
Yeah, see, that's what I was trying to get because I listen to I just listen to a lot of football podcasts, but it just seems like from the Ole Miss perspective and the State perspective, and I'm gonna get to some other stuff in a minute, but it just seems like the way it feels like the Ole Miss fan base in the 3-year stretch that I just put up would be, I'm not gonna say happier, but if they're 2-1 like Chase said against LSU, but 1-2 against State, it doesn't seem like as if they're so hung up on the Egg Bowl as if State fans are. That's what I was trying to get at.
They'll take it all.
There's no question that Mississippi State is more hung up on the Egg Bowl than Ole Miss is. There's no doubt about it.
Okay, and see, and in my opinion, that's why I believe just from the outside looking in, I believe Ole Miss has the potential. From an Auburn fans' perspective, Ole Miss being in this whirlwind they've been in from the past few years or whatnot has been great because I don't ever see Mississippi State being a program that can ever challenge, really for the SEC West. Because in my opinion, with your best quarterback ever in school history, you still have 4 losses, and you're never going to be as good. You're never going to be that good again. And that's just, and I think, in my opinion, I think Leach was a horrible hire, and I think they're going to hate the way that he loses. I think,
Grind, why do you think he's a horrible hire? Out of curiosity, I mean, I don't necessarily disagree. In fact, I think I do agree, but I'm curious, why do you think that he's a horrible hire?
Okay, number one, I don't think he fits in like with State. Like, I've been to some State games when it's in Starkville, and it's a type of culture there that he just doesn't fit into, first of all. And I think if you're such a misfit, kind of like how Gus is just a tad bit at Auburn, you have to win enough to appease the fan base, because if you don't, then they're going. It's so easy for them to turn on you. And I think if you just look out through, just look at the history of Mississippi State football, they've never been able to recruit prolific enough talent, in their quarterback or receiver position in order to thrive in a passing first offense. Because the state of Mississippi just never never produced those type of players. And when they have, they usually go on to Ole Miss. And I don't see how Mississippi State is going to be able to, live off that type of system. And the recruiting on defense, as of right now, I don't know if you guys know, but they have no defensive lineman recruited, committed in their class right now. I just, I'm a big recruiting head and whatnot. And I just don't see it's going to be able to, I think, in my opinion, I think the bottom's going to fall out, because I don't see how that program has never won. They've never won in the way that he's trying to do.
Yeah, I don't disagree with anything you just said. I don't think he's a great fit. I think he's a good coach, but I don't know that there is a very good fit. And you and I both could be proven wrong. Who knows? But I tend to agree with you.
Yeah, and I feel like, when they go out and, for instance, when they go out and lose to Texas A&M 45 to, 30 or whatever, and put up 500 passing yards, fan base is going to start about, they need to run the ball and whatnot and all that other stuff. But there's just, my little 2 cents on State and, Ole Miss programs, and, how I feel like one, just has a whole lot more potential than the other.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And now with this scenario, I know, well, not really a scenario, it's just a question. Because, Neal, you worked in the state of Alabama, and Chase has a lot of experience, and, you do too, Neal, in the state of Mississippi. What makes the two states so different? And, I know it's population, but population isn't really because, it does, it's the same for the state of South Carolina and, kind of for the state of Georgia as well. That the state of Alabama is able to have, 2 top 15, 2 top 10 football programs, but
And I don't mean buying players either. It's just the state of Alabama has done a much better job than the state of Mississippi in creating jobs, in creating not only population but population with resources. I mean, look at the way North Alabama is growing. With the way that North Alabama, that Decatur, Muscle Shoals, Huntsville area is developing. The way that Birmingham has developed over the years. Birmingham has become kind of Nashville light. Mississippi doesn't have anything like that. And so when you have the more population that you have, the more quality people you produce. And here's the other difference too, is that Alabama and Auburn, as much as they dislike each other, there's a certain USA, USSR respect. They understand that it would be mutual destruction if one of them fired a weapon at the other, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
In Mississippi, they can't get that. Mississippi State can't accept that. Mississippi State continues to fire nuclear weapons. And so you have this destruction that happens. You don't get that in Alabama. Alabama understands that if it goes after Auburn is going to retaliate, and vice versa. And so the two programs, while they don't like each other, and there's a begrudging respect. You don't have that here.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know if you guys know. I mean, the prospect Javion Cohen, who ended up flipping to Alabama late in the process. Things could have got nasty with that recruitment, but it just end up stuff just end up simmering down.
Yeah,
But
everybody swallows it there.
They know the score, and you move on to the
Yeah,
next
you
one.
just
and live
move
to fight
on.
another day.
You're pissed off, and you let it fester a little, but you ultimately move on. Here, because there are certain elements, it's just weird. It doesn't happen like that. Instead, it boils over. It never quite boils over there.
Yeah.
Okay, man.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, that was it, man. I just wanted to call into the show one time. By the way, you guys do a great job. I listen to the podcast every day. You guys got a 24-year-old black male out here listening to y'all podcast. So you guys do a great job, and keep putting out the good content, man.
Thanks,
Appreciate it, Grind. Have a good day.
Enjoy your time in Mobile.
Absolutely.
All right, man.
A couple Auburn fans hanging out. Used to be LSU fans on the message board. We used to have a lot of LSU fans on the message board.
Yeah.
And then, I guess, active on the message board. Although we probably have state active, too. We just can't always identify them very quickly.
Well, they always pop up in the top 10 markets that listen to our
Well, that
show.
is true, yes.
So they're there.
Yeah, they're around.
They're kind of like
they buy cars like anybody else.
They're kind of like a virus. You don't see them, but they're there.
Jeez. Okay. Oh, gosh. Golf's still going. Good grief. Or is it a replay now? I don't know.
It's just 7-11 there.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Okay.
Who is that guy? Brendan Todd.
Really interesting story.
He's 5 under.
He's already won a couple times on tour. With this crazy schedule, had he finished off last week, he probably would have been the PGA Tour Player of the Year. Somebody who most people would never have been able to even identify.
I would never, if I passed that dude on the street,
you have no prayer.
I would never be like, oh, you're a professional golfer.
Yeah. I think so.
I would think you're a professional grocer.
Yeah. Anyway, hope we have a schedule coming up soon. Waiting on a couple calls, but if nothing comes in, we'll wrap it up here in a minute. Hopefully schedules next time we are talking to you. That would be great.
What is that dude's
fantastic.
that dude's shoes? What's his deal?
What do you mean?
Look at his shoes. His shoes have 400 colors. What's the deal?
Yeah, I don't know.
Jason Karen, is he any good? No, he's +6.
I think he's a club pro. This is the PGA Championship has PGA professionals like teaching pros in the tournament as well.
Okay.
You can qualify. So
Doc Redman, who is Doc Redman?
He won the US Am a couple years ago.
Okay.
Young player, pretty good. Hasn't done much on tour yet.
Did his parents name him Doc, or is that a nickname?
I assume it's a nickname, but I'm not aware of Mr. Redmond's history.
Is that because he's a doctor or what?
I don't know. Sorry.
Help me! I'm trying to embrace your stupid sport.
Well, I don't think Doc Redmond's who you're going to pick out for your.
Oh, look at the mustache on that dude.
I'm looking through a ring light, so I'm having a hard time seeing it.
Jason Day, Brendan Todd tied at 65, 5 under. Brooks Koepka, Justin Rose, Zach Johnson, Xander
Schauffele,
and some other dude were 4 under.
Okay. Good job, Neal. You're turning into Jim Nantz in front of our eyes.
Well, they didn't leave it up long enough for me to read the whole thing.
Yeah. Appreciate the calls. Had a good time tonight. Enjoyed everybody in the live stream. Be back next week, and we'll, like I said, we'll start doing a pretty good bit of different stuff. Start getting some of a schedule as the fall is getting here, and hopefully, to God, we have football at the same time. So appreciate all you. We'll talk to you again very soon.